it's the people that we need to take care of. Because again, if those people are well taken care of, they will take care of our products. They would take care of our customers.
Yes,
and we're good.
Welcome to And Then I Did This. Prepare to be inspired as we celebrate the unique journeys of individuals who've had the courage to break free and live life on their own terms. Their lives prove that you truly can be free to live your best and most authentic life. Let's get to it. Welcome to the show, Gary. I have a special guest today. Gary Ware is the founder of Breakthrough Play. He's a corporate facilitator, keynote speaker, certified coach, and author of the book Playful Rebellion, Maximize Workplace Success Through the Power of Play. And Gary and I have known each other for a long time, like over 12 years. And I'm so excited to have you here and talk about what you're doing and your journey. So you can start wherever you'd like.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lorraine, for having me. And hello, wherever you're watching this. So I have to say, you were the catalyst for a lot of this. So I have to give you, recognition.
Wow.
Because, yes, we worked together. Oh my gosh, it seems like ages ago, like 3 or 4 lifetimes ago.
Right.
And you were very instrumental in getting me to start to see things differently. And it's funny because, what they say is you keep repeating the same mistakes until you learn something. So when we were working together at 𝘗𝘭𝘢𝘵, which turned to iProspect and whatnot, I was, a leader of a team, but I was burning myself out time and time again. But I thought that's just what you do.
Right.
And then I got to the point where, funny story. So 𝘚𝘵𝘬𝘨, who is the founder of the company, I think by the time you came, 𝘚𝘵𝘬 wasn't necessarily involved in the company. He had been sort of left. I had saw him at a party that someone that I met in Improv, which I had just started taking Improv just recently. And my Improv mate had a birthday party and her best friend was there who happened to be 𝘚𝘚𝘬𝘨's wife. I saw 𝘚𝘚𝘬𝘨 at that party and 𝘚𝘚𝘬𝘨 looked years younger. Oh my gosh. It looked like he was at least 5 to 6 years younger. And we were talking and I really didn't get the story of what happened. Just one day people were like, oh, 𝘚𝘚𝘬𝘨's sort of doing his own thing now. And then, he told me what happened. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
But the one thing he said that changed everything was he says, and you mentioned it before we start recording, once you realize, that you're not happy, you can't unsee that.
Absolutely.
And so you have two choices. You could either just be compliant and just go through with it or start to make a shift.
Exactly.
And that's when light bulb came on for me. And I was like, what am I doing? And then it was like, if this was a movie, I would flash back to all of the Christmas parties that we had where we would go and my wife would come. That's the only time she would be involved with the company. And the CEO every year said the exact same thing to her. And I don't think he realized that. He said, Gary's doing a great job. And I know it's so busy. It's going to get better. And she remembers it because he says it to her every year. And it was so funny at the one before that. So this is in March, a few months before that, the Christmas party, he said it again. But before that, he said, if he says that to me one more time, I'm going to, and he did. And she looked at me and I was like, but again, I was still this is what we're supposed to do. But once I heard that, I couldn't, I was like, what am I doing? And so then I started to reflect of I have to get out of here. But the thing is, I knew that because of the way our industry was, and we're in San Diego, it's a very small community, and because we were hiring people and we were getting word when people were looking, I couldn't just go start looking because I knew that upper management, C-suite, would try to say, hey, why don't you stay? Here's a bag of money. And I didn't feel I probably would have taken it. So I didn't want to be left with that temptation. And you're the one who saved me because when I put in my notice, I just put it to you and you shielded me and didn't tell anyone. And then, and so that allowed me to sort of step out. I didn't know what I was going to do at that point. I ended up going back into marketing, but that got me out of the constant burnout, constant burnout. And
Turn
it
and
gave me
burn.
space to just like recover. So that was the start. So I would just stop right there. And
Yes.
you were very influential in helping me on this journey.
That is so cool and awesome to hear. I just remember you saying to me at one point, if you wouldn't have come when you did, I would have left like 8 months ago. I remember you saying that. And then I had the memory of the things that I was weaving into the company. Like we were doing de-stress Fridays and we were doing meditation on a Friday afternoon, and, it was optional. People didn't have to do, but then we had the highest retention of people. So then the head of HR came and said, what are you doing? Because you have the highest engagement. They do employee surveys and, like, who's going to fly the coop? It was like, people fly anyway, but they would, see who's engaged, who's happy. And we had our team in general had the highest scores, but I am so happy. And I remember the improv, a part of your journey also. And I just have to put a plug in for your book because your book is so good. If anybody hasn't, if you have a copy, hold up. Playful Rebellion. It just challenges you to think differently. And it's just so good. It's so good. And as I was commenting this morning, that one of the first things that like really jumped out and looking at that is how we go from being playful to proving ourselves. But anyway, go back to, share more about your story and how improv was kind of like that sounds like it was definitely one of the keys to reconnecting you with the childlike. We all have a kid inside of us, but we shut it down the older we get in life, further we go in life.
Exactly. And it's so funny because in that point in my career, I was all about career optimization. Hey, how do I get better at this so I can make more money at this and all these things? And I didn't like Toastmasters. And 𝘚𝘵𝘀 had this sort of professional development thing where we had $1,000 a year that we can put towards professional development stuff. Most people went to like a conference, and someone had mentioned improv, and I was like, improv? Like I seen whose line is it anyway, but I didn't really understand how it can benefit me. But they said, trust me. And so I'm glad that I did, because again, that was, like you said, the start. That's the thing that sort of got me to realize like, oh, I'm missing play. Because I went to that improv class, and for 2 hours, we were completely present. For 2 hours, we were connected. It was a lot of fun, and I was hooked. And similar to like you bringing the meditation stuff like that, I would bring these silly improv games, to the team as well. And you're right, like it's optional. But people, there's something about energy that's very contagious. Well, all energy is contagious. But when people see other people like having fun, they're like, hey, I went in on that. And so you're right. All of those things help the team connect and bond. And our group had the high, considering everything that was going on at the company, the fact that our team had the highest retention, the highest engagement. That shows something.
Yeah. And then obviously the performance of the company to the point that it was acquired. And people were happy doing their jobs. I love the other part in the book where you talked about once you started doing improv, you started not dreading Mondays. I mean, I just think there's so like you can feel like the Sunday dread, and it's like people don't have to, which is obviously the mission I'm on, to let people know you don't have to be a wage slave. You do have options, and you just have to open your eyes and look up. But that improv just lit you up and was like the spark in your flame to propel you forward to have a company now where it's all about play. Yeah,
exactly. And so I didn't know what I know now, like about the science and psychology behind this. I had something to look forward to because once they talk about like in the realm of happiness and positive psychology, put something on your calendar. Put something on your calendar that you look forward to. In some cases, you have a higher level of happiness than when it happens. Like, when think about like a vacation, I was like, oh my God, I'm looking forward to this vacation. And then a lot of times, like you're happier than like when you get on the vacation. But see, the problem is most of the people who are like sort of stuck in their 9 to 5, they have these vacations, they are looking forward to it, but it's essentially everything else is broken. So, and this was similar to me. I would come back from a vacation and then like immediately afterwards, I'm like, man, I need another vacation. So so we need to fix the things that are going on. And for me, like having that weekly outlet, the thing that I went to de-stress. It was community. And then it was also shifting my perspective of how I saw things. Like the Taylor Swift song, it's like, oh, it's me. I'm the problem. In that, if I've seen the world through a negative lens, so going back to playground to proving ground, yes, everything I did in the beginning was like a playground. Like I was so excited to be there. And then over time, just because of how our society and stuff is set up, it starts to be more of a proving ground. Like, oh, I got to prove myself. I got to get these numbers. I want to get a promotion. And then you're like focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on extrinsic things, which is not going to make you fulfilled, because those extrinsic things are just going to get you to do more extrinsic things. But when you see the lens as a proving ground, as I mentioned in my book, you see the people around you as competitors. You don't see the world as play. You just see it as the thing that you have to do. And you're doing the exact same work, but your lens is different. And as a result, the way the outcome is going to be different. You're going to burn yourself out.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that as you know, back then, and I still am a big advocate for millennials. And at the time that we were working together, we did have kind of a wake up of people who were and the market we were in, we had really smart, good people. Very smart. They would get poached with money away. However, I also remember us having a meeting once where we sat around and was like, okay. And I remember sitting at the table saying, pretend I'm not who I'm not in this role. And what is it that really is important to you? People wanted a ping pong table. They wanted to be able to, and we got it. They wanted to work from home occasionally, like things back then that seemed like so revolutionary. Like, now I honestly, and I have others that don't necessarily agree with me. I love what is being done by people who are saying, I refuse to work that way. I refuse to go back into the office. I have to have some kind of balance in my life. And there's the whole balance thing. And then are you really doing something you really want to be doing with your life? So
yes. So that's actually a great segue. Like talking about my journey of like what led me to here.
Yeah.
Because fast forward another 8 years, like after I departed Cavario, I went to another a branding agency that was adding a digital component. Great company. To be honest, if I didn't get the next opportunity, I probably would have stayed there for a lot longer. But from my connection with the ad community, I was approached by two people I had known to start a digital marketing agency with the intention of sort of changing the game of how we do it. Not how we do the work, but how like us as humans, how we work so that we're not burning ourselves out, and so that we don't have people stay for 2 years and then imbalance and stuff like that. And so I was excited for that. And for the beginning, as most people know, when you go into business, it is, again, you see the world as a playground. It's great. And we were achieving, those things. But then I like to say, you learn a lot from someone under stress. You learn about their true character and whatnot. And we had some stressful times. And, my business partner wasn't who I thought they were. But I was still a little naive to that because I was like, oh, well, you know what? Is what it is. Like, again, like you're in a romantic relationship and you just sort of making excuses like, but we have all these other things. Right. And then for me, what I liked was the autonomy. I liked that I was making good money. I was doing good work, but more importantly, I had the space to do these other things. This is when I was getting really into using improv and play as different modalities for transformation and stuff like that. I was using it on my team, but I was also giving it away for the most part. Like I would do these like meetup groups. We were meet in the park. We would do, I call it recess. But at the time when everything sort of exploded, I was, this was in 2018. I was on a retreat in Nicaragua. It was around the time of my birthday, and it was like a play adventure retreat where we did some really cool service projects. And it was the last day of the retreat. And me and my co-facilitator are looking at this beautiful sunset over the ocean. There's these little baby turtles that are scurrying off into the ocean. They just hatched. And I was filled with so much gratitude. And I was like, wow, like, I think I figured it out. Like I have it. Like I have a job that, yes, we're doing good work, but more importantly, it gives me the ability to do this.
Yes.
This is what is important. This is the thing that fills my cup so that I can go back, to work and all these other things. And so the word that came to my mind was harmony. I was like, oh yeah, I have this harmony. So much so that I got a tattoo that means harmony.
So cool.
Yeah. And it's to complement the tattoo I got a decade or so before. That means chaos. And so it's like, it's like this sort of completion.
Yes.
What I probably should realize is that when you have harmony, the next is chaos. Because that Monday, when I went back to the office and I was checking in with my business partner, he basically bought me out. And he said, we need to go our separate ways. Before that, there was, some, we didn't really see eye to eye on how we should work. I was more at that point an advocate for not necessarily working in the office as much. My son was born. I really wanted to be around. The commute was a bit. But anyways, he said, hey, we should go our separate ways. He bought me out. I was sort of taken aback. I was caught off guard. I was not expecting it whatsoever. And then 2 hours after that, our landlord called me, and the house that me and my wife were renting, he said he has to sell.
Wow.
And we have about 30, 40 days, and so it was like when it rains, it pours.
Right.
But fortunate for me, I have a great support network. My family's here. So we sold all the things that didn't matter, and we moved in with my parents. And the goal was to figure out what's next. I'm glad that I had that support, because if I didn't have the support of my parents and my wife, I probably would have just went and found another job. It's like the universe is trying to, hello. And I'm just like,
yes.
And so that's what was the catalyst, because when I was reflecting, like, what's the stuff that really light me up? And it was this. And my wife was like, yeah, I think you can figure this out. And so I said, 2 years.
Yeah.
Gotta work on it for 2 years and see what happens. And so, that was the start of me.
That is so cool. Yeah, because I will say that, after the agency was acquired that we were both part of, and I went back to New York, I remember just like feeling, wow, I'm back here. And I had left feeling like I was like done. I didn't want to be in the city. I didn't want to be in that rat race. And there I was, like right in the heart again of, Times Square, commuting to an office. And I remember the thought eventually came to me that as I left then in 2015 and moved back to the West Coast, that we get whispers, like we'll get whispers of what we're supposed to, what would be in our best interest. And when we don't listen to the whispers, they get very loud. And sometimes a catastrophic thing happens. As I say catastrophic, a big event that's out of our control gets our attention. And then we reassess, which, to a certain extent happened, when I was in New York. So I totally relate to that, because I wound up, like making the decision that I cannot do this work anymore. I have got to transition. And so, here you are doing what you're doing. So talk a little bit about what happens, like with what you do when you go into a company, and all the things because that is so interesting to me, because that's so important. People who are in 9-to-5 jobs, like being in a place where you've got a good environment and colleagues that you can talk with and have good relationships with. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, people don't leave bad companies. They leave bad bosses. They leave bad cultures, because no one goes into a job saying, this place sucks.
I think I'm going to work here. This place sucks.
I'm going to work at this dumpster fire place. However, over time, it's revealed, and no company sets out to make a company that has a bad culture. It's just that there are systems and processes that are put into place that, create that, because there's a lot of research that shows you can take someone that is naturally a caring, good person, but if you put them in an environment where there's a lot of sort of infighting, there's a lot of competitiveness and not the good type of competitiveness, that person we have these extrinsic motivators like salary and status and stuff like that will transform someone. There's a lot of research that shows that. Matter of fact, they did a study with mice where they put these mice into like a community, and then they had them do tasks. And there were some mice that were like bullying the other mice, and some that were like helpless, and some that were like hard workers. And so what they did is they separated them, and then they said, "Oh, all right, let's put all the hard workers together." And then it was the same sort of environment.
Right.
Half of the hard workers turned into bullies.
Oh,
so it's the same sort of system that we have here.
Yes.
And this is a system that is outdated. This is a system that essentially was put into place, to do something that we're not doing now. Like it's to do like essentially manual labor, repetitive tasks, things that aren't using our brain. But yet we haven't shifted. So that is what we have now. And the companies who get it realize that, hey, it's the people that we need to care for and take care of. Because again, if those people are well taken care of, they will take care of our products. They would take care of our customers.
Yes,
and we're good.
Absolutely.
And so people bring me in to do a few things. One, the basic thing is, hey, we're doing team building. Totally get it. Like we have a company offsite. We want to add a bit of enrichment, something that is entertaining and fun, and has a bit of a learning aspect of it, like, where we can have some really good takeaways. And so I come in and I create curriculum that is derived from my work with what is called applied improvisation. So improv techniques and rituals that are outside of the theater that are used for different contexts.
Interesting.
And other sort of playful activities.
So fun.
Yeah, and it's designed to get people to connect. It's designed to help people collaborate better. And then these silly games, they all have a hidden meaning. Where I have this belief, like how you play anything is how you do everything. So if I can set you up in a game that is designed to showcase that we're not really good listeners, you're going to play the game. Because it's a game, it's an activity. And you're not necessarily going to be, thinking about this. You're just going to play and it's going to bring out your true nature.
Yes.
Then we can have a discussion. In the context of this game, how did you do? Oh man, I did so bad. I did this. And then the cool thing is it's a low stakes environment. We celebrate. It's like, hey, it's all good. Don't worry about it. And then we talk about it.
Right.
And then because we're very intelligent beings, your brain will naturally connect the dots to what you're like at work. And then you have a moment where we can have that transformation happen because you're open to a different possibility. Whereas, so I'll give an example. So I was doing this workshop for just to not give it away, is a professional baseball team, their sales team. Is their sales team, and they wanted to improve team relations. They wanted to improve performance. And we were doing this activity that was designed to get people to understand that they can't multitask. It's a fun activity. But when you're in the center of the activity and the focus is on you, it's designed to bring out stress. So you're in this fight, flight, or freeze moment. Matter of fact, I have photos and videos of people deer in the headlights. Again,
how funny!
Willingly go into these activities.
Yes,
and we're having fun, and then we're talking about it afterwards, and we're doing a debrief. What was challenging? What did we learn? And then this executive, raises her hand, and she is like almost in tears. I'm like, tell me what's going on. And she said, "Oh my God, this is how it feels like on a day-to-day basis with me and my job. I am at the center of this, and I thought it's my job to be the gatekeeper and hold all these things together. And I'm not being successful at my job. I don't think like my team's being successful. And in that moment, called a timeout.
Right.
We sort of all reflected. And in that moment, everyone came together and helped this gal sort of put a strategy in place to help her out.
So it was like it diffused, shined, a light was shown by, and I know from, and you're a coach as well, and I know just what we learn is when people realize something for themselves, it's 1,000 times more powerful than someone telling them what you're. So she may have been given that feedback. You're not your team. You need to work on your team build, your whatever those things were. But to have that realization for herself, and then to have other people help talk it through, because there was the threat was removed of the judgment, and because it was a safe place to
low stakes.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's wild. That is so good. That is so good,
so powerful. And so that happened through an activity, through a playful activity where that person, like you said, they came up to the realization themselves. They understood themselves, and that's what I love about the work that I do. I help teams and individuals figure out from themselves what are the challenges and what they need to do, because we're all intelligent. We're all capable of doing things. You don't need someone to like sort of point at you and tell you have to do this, this, and this. And so to this point, afterwards, the people that hired me took me aside and said, what did you do there? What did you do there? Matter of fact, like this person, like their team had been like complaining that this person's a micromanager, this, that, and the other. They were like, like you're absolutely right. Like there was feedback given like, hey, however, this person, again, because they thought that's what you're supposed to do. So you're right. Yeah, maybe there's some defensiveness and stuff like that, and you're not able to have a conversation. However, if you can do an activity that is going to shine a light on just our humanness of this is what happens, we just and then we can like discuss. And there was high levels of psychological safety, and that person felt comfortable actually addressing that in front of all of their peers. Like that's magical. And that happens through play.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it's so good and it's so needed, because it's making me think you're like the corporate culture whisperer.
Yeah. I love that. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah. Because it's what you said earlier, how we do one thing is how we do everything. And and sometimes, and that kind of like environment is what is the most disarming of what people could be kind of put into. So I can think of all kinds of environments, companies that I've been exposed to that could definitely benefit from what you're doing. So so you do that, and then you've done a lot of different things. I mean, you did it. You're on YouTube. You did a TED Talk. So
yes, I did.
So you do speaking as well.
I do.
So talk a little bit about that, because that's interesting too.
So I realized that the things that I do are a little bit unconventional. And sometimes in the world of improv, we like to say show, don't tell. And as a way to get this out to a larger amount of people, I realized I need to get on more stages to talk about this. And then people can see my passion. But more importantly, all the keynotes and stuff that I do are very interactive. I'm not just the boring, hey, I'm going to PowerPoint this, that, and the other. I'm going to, I like to say, I want to talk as little as possible. I want to get out there, talk, but more importantly, I want you to experience it. Because I know that if you experience it, you're going to have what is called a peak emotional experience. You're going to have like a heightened sense of awareness, and then you're going to get it. And more importantly, like I said, we're very intelligent. We know how to connect the dots. You're going to see, I know who needs this,
Right.
And so that's my thing of like, all right, cool. So, how can I support people? How can I, share this message? And so, yes, I do keynote talks as well.
So cool.
And the whole thing is, if I can be a ripple and sort of shine a light on some of this and get more folks to sort of understand like, oh, this is needed. This is necessary.
Yes, absolutely. I know I actually popped your TEDx talk on again. I've already watched it a few times, but when you had at the very beginning, you have everybody stand up, and it's like, everybody's like, oh no, like people are used to, and people will, they'll, to your point also. And I think just the reality, people will just go in their heads and start their own conversation with themselves and while you're talking. So to get people engaged and get involved and then have their own realization, that's the 101 of coaching, is let people come to their realization and see themselves through, and the way you're doing it, through play, through a safe way to reconnect with the kid in all of us. This is just, it's so good. I love so much what you're doing. And as I said, like, I'm going to link everything down below, your book, how they can, and people can get in touch with you. Your website is
breakthroughplay.com.
breakthroughplay.com. I'll put the link below. And Gary, love you, man. It's like, it was so fun working together. Like, you always had just, that magical energy that you could just feel when you would come in the room. So yeah.
Yay.
Huge
Such
hugs.
a delight.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, you as well. It's been a pleasure. Just want to acknowledge you, 𝘰𝘺, for bringing me on, and more importantly, spreading this message, helping people sort of wake up. It's so needed right now.
Absolutely. And that's a wrap on another episode of And Then I Did This, celebrating the lives of those who've walked away from the beaten path to pursue work and a life that nourishes their soul. If you're feeling inspired and ready to explore your own path to freedom, check out youcanbefree.life, where you'll find resources and support to help you break free and live life on your own terms. See you next time.